What's going on, guys? Dr. Monster here, bringing you my first Namalsk episode of Tips and Tricks. Let's jump straight to it. So in this episode we're going to be discussing how to get to the outpost in the best possible way. As you can see there, the boat is sort of directly in front of me, but I'm on the right hand side looking at it, so I'm on the point on the right hand side. Next to that boat you do have the military island. Probably best for you to go to that before making it out, trying to find some waterproof gear. As you can see, I've got some Jaeger pants and a samurai jacket. Both of these are waterproof, so you can keep food and fire starting kits in them. As you can see, I've got my food in my jacket, which will always stay unfrozen now, and I've got my Jaeger pants for my fire starting stuff, which makes sure it doesn't get too wet. Okay, so we've got the plus, and what we're going to do is we're just going to start venturing out to the outpost. So as you can see, over there was the military island. I set my fire just in behind this hill, and now we're just going to push away from the outpost. Bit odd, I know, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to push away from it, and then all we're going to do from that is just keep on running until we get to this entrance here, and we're then going to move across and just keep walking up this direction. So we're going to keep pushing along this way, nice straight line. What will happen is we're going to come to a pool of water, which turns into sort of a lake at some point, and then once you get to that, you're going to keep it on your right hand side. But as you can see here, we're just going to keep running this direction. So it's a straight line from once we've crossed. We're just going to keep on running. If you've got this thing to your left, this river here, then that's always a bonus as well. You know you are running in the right direction, but you just want to keep pushing straight ahead from when we've crossed. Keep running up this way. Obviously, whilst you're coming out here, you just need to be careful of other players. There will be players probably coming away or going to it at some point. You will encounter them. So if you do have weapons, which you should be able to find at least something in the military complex, which is behind us back there where we got the jacket and the pants from, you should then at least be able to put up some sort of fight if you do run into someone. If you don't have anything, by all means you can still make it out to the outpost. This might make it a little bit trickier if you do encounter some enemies. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep pushing this direction, and in a second you'll be able to see a big pool of water to my right. There it is. And that's what you want to find. Once you find that, you can then follow it pretty much the whole way to the outpost. Alright, so finding that, and what we'll do is we're just going to keep now running in a straight line next to the ball of water there. Alright. These mounds which are just to my left, what I'd probably suggest for you to do is, if you wanted to start fires, is set them there, but it's not the end of the world. You can normally make it to the outpost, because you're not getting wet, you can normally make it there without having to set a fire, and you can set fires then in the outpost itself if you feel comfortable to do so. If you don't, by all means push away from the outpost and set a fire somewhere which is a bit more safe. So as you can see, we're just coming up to another big part of the lake. And we're just going to keep following it, so keeping it on our right hand side at all times. So we're going to come across to this bit here. Obviously it looks like you're going to have to get wet here. You don't have to get wet. You keep pushing along, you will find bits like this here, for example, where you can just run straight across. It might get your feet a bit damp, but it's not your whole body. Obviously if you do start swimming at places, you will get very, very cold. You could then suffer from frostbite, which is then incurable from the game, and it will affect your overall health. And see, we're doing this in the dark, which makes things a little bit harder to try and spot the outpost. But
if you do see a black blob running anywhere along here, you'll know that it's going to be an enemy player, so that does make a little bonus for you. As you can see, I've always kept this ball of water and this river, this lake, whatever you want to call it, on the ice floes to my right hand side. So we're just going to keep following it around, and this is all I would recommend for you to do to get to the outpost. As said, if you've got food, ideal. If you don't have food, please craft a fishing rod, piece of rope and a long stick. Get some hooks if you have killed someone on the land before you come across. Take their bones, craft fishing hooks from them. And it's just a good way for you to be able to then make it to here without using too much food, or not make, because you won't be able to make it out here. I think you can make it out to the outpost, sorry, with sort of a little bit of food, but making it all the way out and back again with nothing, you're going to struggle big time. But yeah, fishing rod, fishing hooks, improvised fishing rod, bone hooks, ideal for this scenario. Just being able to stop off and catch a few mackerel and then off you go. So as you can see here, these are my jackets here. We're just going to talk a bit more about them. So the jacket and the trousers I've got are ideal for what we've got, plainly because nothing's going to get frozen. If you do decide to have to swim somewhere, none of it's going to get frozen or damp, because obviously if you do swim with anything else on which isn't waterproof, just a normal pea coat for example, it will get wet. Your food will then freeze, which means you'll then spend longer out here having to defrost the food, which obviously you do not want. So we're just going to keep moving along. So the ball of water is still to my right. I'm just going to go around this little bit here just to make sure that we've don't get ourselves wet. Fingerless gloves as well, I would recommend as the best gloves for Namalsk. The reason they are the best is because you can wring them out. They're the only gloves which are durable and can be wrung out. Combat gloves, working gloves, all of those unfortunately you cannot wring out, so it does take longer if you do get them wet to dry. With the obviously fingerless gloves, wring them out, goes to damp, and they dry a lot quicker. As I said, you just keep following the ball of water, which is still to our right. It's a massive ball of it just through those gaps there, all the way along. You just keep following that. So we're just going to cut a bit of a corner here. I'm just going to go around this little pond, like so. Obviously, if you aren't familiar with the map, I would highly recommend looking at I Survive. It's not obviously to scale, so it can make things a little bit trickier, but once you've done this a few times, you will get a good idea and a good understanding of where you need to go each time. As I said, this is just to help people make it to the outpost without having to get wet or damp or anything like that. There's nothing worse than trying to make it to the outpost, getting lost, dying on the ice, and starting all over again. At least making it to the outpost, you will get NVGs, you'll get some good weapons, all of that stuff which you do want. So 100% worth doing it. So we're just going to keep pushing along here. This mound in front of me is a good place to set a fire, plain because what you can do here is face the direction of the outpost still, and you can set a fire just behind it so your back is covered. Obviously you can keep peeking up and down, up to you if you wanted to, but it's a good place to set a fire in and behind those mounds. So we're still just going along here. As you can see, it's still to my right, this massive ball of water here. Keep pushing along, and eventually in the distance, obviously sunrise is coming up, but in the distance you should be able to see the outpost shortly. So I'm still looking around just in case players do come behind me, but we're just going to keep on trucking. So we're just going to keep running along here. I believe it is think it was just over to my left then. I think I just saw a little tower, might be wrong. So we're just going to keep following it. The ball of water is still to my right. I can see some tower bits just to my left, I believe. I can see the antenna. Yeah, it's just to my left. So as you can see, the ball of water is still to our right. That it's turned into a massive lake now. We can keep pushing up this way. As you can see, just through the gap there it is. So that is the outpost. That has always been on my right hand side. That river running into a lake. All of that has been on my right hand side pretty much the entire journey. And as I said, once you get here, when it gets a bit lighter, you will be able to see it. The only time it is a bit of a struggle to find it is when there is a blizzard happening. But as you've seen, I've made it here without having to set a fire, without having to eat any food. But yeah, you keep that to your right until you spot it. You will be able to spot it from a distance away. It's not difficult to spot. And then all you do is just walk around these pools of water just so you don't get wet again. And then yeah, you will be making it to the outpost to gear up with some decent stuff. If you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment and subscribe to this video for more content. And here we're now just approaching the outpost. There's a few zombies around it, but hey ho, that's life. Or we can have zombies guarding stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, it's nice speaking to you all. Take care now. Bye bye.